Hey guys, what's good? I'm Andre and today I want to walk you through PLTR and a few different bearish and bullish points of view on what could happen with PLTR through 2022 to try and establish whether or not we're gonna see some more inflows into the stock throughout next year. Before we jump in, I'm gonna plant 100 trees as soon as our very new channel reaches 500 subscribers, guys. So obviously, being a PLTR investor hasn't really been kind. Being in growth for the last 2 months here roughly has been quite severe for a lot of us, but with Palantir especially, we've been seeing some massive outflows. So only this year we are already 8% down. Now if we go 3 or 6 months back, we are more than 30% down, and then anybody pretty much that has been investing into PLTR ever since November 2020 has been seeing nothing but outflows. So with that in mind, guys, if we have a top-down approach to analyzing Palantir, we can see that while S&P did roughly 24% last year, the S&P 500 value index did roughly 21%, while the S&P 500 growth index did close to 27%. So obviously it's not a sector-wide issue, it's more specific to Palantir. So let's continue trying to identify what's going on, right? But long story short, if you've invested $10,000 in Palantir at the beginning of January 2021, you'd be sitting roughly at $6,400 right now. So definitely not easy to digest a $3,600 drop from that initial investment. If we have a look at TPRank's analysts, we can see that the rating is a moderate sell. The reason behind that is that obviously we have 4 sell ratings, 3 hold ones and 1 buy one. As you guys can see, we have the latest one here from 10 days ago. That's a buy at $24, which is pretty optimistic from my point of view, because obviously we all know that the intrinsic value for Palantir is roughly at the $24-25 range. So it'd be amazing to see the stock trade back within that range again. But we can also see the fact that for the last few months we have been receiving a lot of different hold or sell ratings from different analysts. Whether they're more or less successful analysts, that remains to be decided, obviously, and some of them, as you guys can see on the screen, are not the most successful of them, but I mean, still worth taking into consideration probably, as long as they manage to skew the views of the masses. Now, having a look at Palantir itself, I think that the stock has been making a lot of really amazing moves. Guys, the CEO of Palantir has said plenty of times before that he doesn't really plan on gratifying investors now. He plans on building long-term success, and it really seems to be that way. Obviously, again, I'm gonna say this again, I am personally invested in Palantir, and it's not easy to see the fact that the stock keeps going down. I think that this past week we've even been at $15. So with that in mind, it's really hard to digest some of these, but let's keep looking through them and see if we can build a more bullish or bearish case. Now, the great things about the stock is that they keep signing contracts, and then they keep weaving themselves within partnerships with really large corporations. So with that in mind, guys, just a few of the headlines that I want to mention here for the last quarter, not going further back, are the first one: Palantir and Hyundai Heavy Industries team up. The second one: Palantir and DuPont Therapeutics announced strategic partnership. The third one: Palantir Merck partnered to tackle chip shortage. And then we have a few ones with even larger companies: Palantir Puzzle Pieces, IBM and Healthcare. Palantir and AWS team up for ERP suite. Palantir Technologies and Rio Tinto sign multi-year enterprise partnerships. So as you can see, guys, there are very many different partnerships that Palantir is getting into, and for many of them Palantir is going to be receiving revenue, which is absolutely fantastic. And let's keep having a look here at some numbers that Palantir has been reporting last time that they reported earnings. And my friendly reminder here is that Palantir is reporting earnings at the start of February. I believe it's the 8th. So have eyes on that. It's going to be really important to see what updates they can offer us in terms of not only earnings but revenue, and then also seeing what they do in terms of net margin, all the good stuff. So the price to sell metric is a really important one that we need to have a look at with stocks, and the thing is that it's been improving a lot throughout the last 12 months. First off, obviously through the fact that the price hasn't really been doing that peachy, but it's still good to see the fact that we do have improvements here. From the last time they reported earnings, I think that some of the things that really should stand out to us are the fact that free cash flow has been improving quite massively at 320 million, and then they also have pretty fantastic updated margin numbers which need to be mentioned by us as well, and we need to be aware of that because they keep improving on that and they keep delivering on their promise basically. Another really interesting thing that I wanted to cover with Palantir is just the fact that institutional ownership has been improving quite massively through the last few months. So first off, this shows me the fact that institutions are really willing to buy Palantir at these price points, $16, $17, $15, but also the fact that they see a lot of value in Palantir for the long term. So actually the overall institutional funding that's invested in Palantir has now reached over 700 million shares, which means that whales are really interested in this stock, especially at these prices. So guys, from my point of view, Palantir stock is definitely one for the future. It's probably gonna frustrate us a bit more. I'm really curious to see what their earnings call is gonna tell us in February. Hopefully they can start getting closer and closer to being profitable. I get the whole idea of reinvesting a lot of your revenue into making sure that you drive the product further, and they do need to battle it out. They do need to make sure that they are building themselves a buffer for any possible new competitors on the market. But still, as an investor, it would be nice to see the stock come back to bullish ways. Let me know if you're an investor in Palantir, if you invested long term or if you're swing trading it. Subscribe if you enjoy the content, guys, and I'll catch you next time. Take care.